Mallory's Heart Foundation is a small nonprofit organization that was created in the memory of Mallory Norell with the goal of building, feeding, and educating in small communities in the country of El Salvador. Projects currently supported by the foundation include feeding programs, building projects for natural disaster prevention, provisions for disaster relief, and university scholarships. 100% of the donations go directly to local community coordinators in Central America with the goal of bettering the livelihood and education of the people in that area. Visit Mallory'sHeart.com for details including photo, video, and donation opportunities. That's Mallory'sHeart.com, and 100% of the proceeds go to those in need.
Welcome to the Jock podcast featuring Dr. London Smith. Sit back, relax, and take in the vast medical wisdom of a man who's once been described as the Guy Fieri of modern medicine. Introducing your host, Dr. London Smith.
Hello, and welcome to Jock, where we discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, drlondonsmith.com. Another listener mentioned that they stop listening when I use such complicated terms as blood, abdomen, and medication.
Oh, calm down, Doc. No idea what you're talking about. Flying right by me.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll try to put everything in layman's terms for everyone so that we all stay on the same page.
Thank you.
Okay. And here to help with that is our producer, Cameron, who's been already chiming in, helping us to stay on track.
Hi, guys. I'm here to kind of make Dr. London a little more tolerable, I guess.
All right. So sometimes I can get caught up in the details and I lose appeal. So he does help me to stay on track.
And this is my equipment.
We are indebted to him.
Yeah.
For supplying the equipment and for finding these guests of ours. So as always, we are also joined by DJ Dylan in the house. We are also expecting an extra special guest later, so look forward to that. So we continue to receive a great deal of great listener feedback. But first of all, thank you all for your input and criticisms. Some have made the claim, one listener in particular, made the claim that I am a pipe squeak and could not handle myself in a fight. So once again, thank you for that response. But I would like to clarify that the nickname of Jock is derived far more from my hobbies and physical fitness rather than my ability to throw a punch. That's not really, violence isn't really my thing so much. I'm sort of after the opposite. So, but enough of that. So let's get to the fun stuff.
You did beat me up.
So right here.
I don't know where we're flying, but we're flying past this again.
Right. So, okay, when it happened,
I tried to beat you up.
I remember. So it's called, I don't know if you've heard the term self-defense, but you were going at me with a bottle.
Yeah.
You had a bottle in your hand. Yes, and that sound is actually...
But it was a bottle of medicine. So, right?
Well, it was a bottle
Doctor stuff.
Well, it was a bottle of whiskey, which used to be considered medicine.
Yeah, it's got 3 X's on the bottle. Medicine.
Right. So when you hit me with that, well, for one thing, that caused me injury. And then for another, me fighting back wasn't so much a fighting back as it was subduing you so that we could put you in restraints. And
so almost in a way, you beating me with the bottle I tried to beat you with, you grabbed the bottle out of my hand, you started beating me with it. That was almost your medicine. Right?
It was, I suppose you could call it prophylaxis, which is a medical term for preventing harm.
I don't think you're allowed to say that anymore, man. In this day and age.
Okay, to clarify, it's not a racist or sexist term, to my knowledge. In any case, so yes, that incident did happen. You were very intoxicated and attacked me,
Well, yeah, I drank a full bottle of whiskey. That's what I was trying to hit you with.
Right. And so I didn't...
You did beat me up.
Well, and when you say beat you up, I simply held you down because you were trying to not only attack me, but then also the children that were there. You kept insisting you had to...
I was blacked out, man. I don't even remember.
Well, yeah, I can tell. So, in any case, if you wouldn't mind, let's go ahead and put that... I was trying to not mention it because I thought it might be more embarrassing for you.
I thought it would be interesting for the listeners to talk about maybe the medical science behind why you beat me over the head with the bottle I tried to beat you with.
Okay, well, actually, if it's okay, we'll go ahead and move on to the ER story.
I mean, it's not okay at all, but, it's your show. It's kind of my show.
Okay.
It's my stuff.
Okay. And once again, I am indebted to you for this equipment, and I appreciate it, and you...
Let's move on. Let's go.
Okay.
What are we talking about today, Doc? And try to talk about it in maybe human terms, not these alien languages.
Okay.
That are like bleep, blorp, penicillin, bleep,
Okay.
blorp.
So today...
Take me to your stethoscope.
Okay. So today we have a story from the ER. We had a patient come in unconscious around 10 p.m. for a heroin overdose. And heroin is, very much a depressant. It really depresses your whole...
Well, it's kind of early to start doing that in the day, too.
I am not sure on the timing that's best for partaking in such a dangerous drug.
Well, I think if you got a good amount, you want to start at about like 11:30. That gets you right over around. Should push through into midnight. It's usually the time you want to.
Sure. Well, in any case, they came in at 10 p.m. for a heroin overdose. She comes in every couple of weeks with her fiance, so in the hospital we call that a frequent flyer. Anyway, she got
points. I can't access my hospital points account, by the way. I've racked up like 30,000 points, and I can't figure out how to log in.
Well, to be honest, to my knowledge, we do not have a frequent flyer sort of status.
You just said that you have a frequent flyer program. I'm telling you, I've got 30,000 points somewhere. I can't figure out how to log into my account.
Okay, so frequent flyer is actually a term. It's a sort of a sarcastic phrase based on that concept of frequent flyer miles. So it's not a legitimate thing where you acquire points. It is simply a term used for someone who, comes into the hospital on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Frequently. And so I do not believe that you would actually have points acquired. I'm not sure where you're getting the 30,000.
You don't think she has points acquired? I've got 30,000 points.
Who told you that?
I've just been keeping track. Pen and paper, lost art.
In any case, so she comes in frequently with her fiance. So we got her treated, got her stabilized, and she regained consciousness around 2 a.m. At that point, she said, "Doc, you gotta let me go. I have a job interview at 8 a.m. and I can't miss it." So we made sure that she could walk without injuring herself, and then she actually left against medical advice, presumably to go for that job interview.
Did she get the job?
I did not follow up with her on that. I'm not sure that I want her to.
Well, you sound like a bad doctor.
Well, in the ER, you actually don't have so much follow-up. You direct them to follow up with their regular doctor, such as an internist or family doctor.
I'm confused. What did you say when they called you as a reference?
Who called me as a reference?
Wherever she was applying for a job.
Okay. She actually did not call me for a reference. She was only in the ER because of the heroin overdose.
Right. She went into the ER. She's in the ER because she started a little early in the day. If she had started about maybe an hour and a half later, she'd probably be feeling pretty good.
Okay.
And then she had to go into the job. She put you down as a reference.
That's the part I don't think would be accurate. I don't think that she would put me down as a reference.
I wouldn't put you down as a reference because you don't even know your own point system at your hospital. We need to get to we actually have a sponsor.
Oh, okay. Wow, this is great.
It's actually a friend of ours from high school.
Hey, is it Andy?
It's Andy. Say hi, Andy.
Hey guys, how's
Hey.
it going?
Hey,
Haven't seen
Andy.
you guys in a long time.
I know.
Karen,
It's
been a
nice
bit.
to see you.
Nice to see you
Well,
too.
Did your nose get bigger, London?
I'm probably.
It looks a little bit bigger. It seems like your nose has grown quite a bit since the last time I saw you.
Well, London is actually a little bit of a brainiac with this kind of stuff. If London, you could talk about maybe why your nose has gotten so honking huge.
Yeah, tell us how that happened anyways.
Well, your nose grows over time, but so does the rest of your body. You probably, when we met in adolescence, right? And so as I grew older, generally I grew up, we all grew taller, and my nose just grew that much in that space of time. It's not...
Have you been lying a lot? You've been telling some fibs, huh? That's how your nose has been growing, right?
Well, no, I don't believe so.
That's not a thing, right? If you tell
No.
lies, your nose grows. That's not a thing.
No, that was Pinocchio.
But that's not like.
That was a fictional...
That's
No,
not
that
a
was
thing.
a great documentary.
But I mean, that's not a thing, right? Like if you tell lies, your nose grows big. That's like not a thing.
I don't believe so. Why do you ask so like that? Why do you ask? I mean, you sound
I'm trying to talk
concerned
to
over it.
Andy over here. Andy.
Okay.
No, I'm telling you it does.
Wow. And this is medicine.
Y'all didn't watch that documentary Pinocchio about that little wooden boy who his dad loved him so much that he just came to life one day?
Yeah, got eaten by a whale.
Well, haven't we all?
Have you been eaten by a whale before?
3 days. I was
Wow.
in the belly of a whale
Really? When did this happen to you?
last weekend.
Wow.
Did you
I
go?
paid for the experience. It's an experience that you pay. I went on a cruise
Okay.
to South America. They offered all these packages, swimming with dolphins, visiting the native people and all the things that they sell, and also get the whale belly experience. And that's what I went for. And it was great.
Is this the sponsor? Being swallowed by a whale?
I was going to bring that up. Thank you guys so much for being the sponsor, because I wanted to tell you guys that I have finally decided to live my dream.
Well, actually,
You guys know that in high school I was a big singer,
Oh, the best.
and I have finally reached the point in my life that I'm ready to pursue that.
okay. Well, just to chime in real
And
quick.
Thankfully, I have my two great friends in this wonderful podcast you have going, and I really appreciate all of the money and everything that you're pouring into my career. It's
and
really
that's-
going to take off. It's really going to help a lot.
So usually,
So thank you, guys. Thank you.
okay. So to
So
clarify,
my first song,
that's not what we're.
I actually wrote it myself about my boyfriend. We have been together for 3 weeks next Thursday.
3 weeks, and you wrote a song about him.
Oh,
Wow.
when you experience true love, which I know you have not, London, when you experience true love, sometimes these things just pour out of you. And that's what happened with this song, and I'm going to be releasing it pretty soon, and I was going to give you guys a little demo, just so you know where your money's going.
And that's
Yeah, absolutely.
well, that's a point of clarification I might need to make here. Is so a sponsor for the show is someone who
Someone who
Pays-
sponsors you.
no. Well, so
When
I
you
was under the-
sponsor poor African children, you send them money so that they can get food and they can go to school and they can have uniforms and they can have clean water.
But
And
in
for
this
me,
case-
I'm needing you to sponsor me so that I can feed my children while I'm trying to pursue my career as
That's
a
right.
country singer. So thank you for feeding my kids.
Cameron, have all the sponsors been this type of sponsor where we are meant to be paying them to be on the show?
Well, she's already given us her direct deposit slip, if that's what you're asking. So I've already put in all the
It's already
information.
handled, London. You don't have to worry you and your big
I
nose
think it's
about
already
it.
in her account, right? Yeah, I
I've
think
already got it. I
Yeah,
already,
so-
got,
Okay, no,
I already
I think
got
we're
some
good.
food. I got some chicken nuggets for my kids.
this is because he's a doctor. He gets caught up in the logistics of everything.
He just
every
needs to
little
stay out
thing.
of it. He's always been like that. Just stay out of it, London.
Your
Get
elbow's over
big-
here.
Get your big
kneecap is right
nose.
here.
Okay, so if
Your arthritis.
you don't have anything to if we aren't getting sponsorship from you, I probably will go ahead and go on with what we're going to talk about today, which is
my new song.
Well, and so it's actually the
So
kidneys. So you talked about how something was pouring out of you, something like this music and stuff. So similarly, you have this part of your body called the kidneys. You have two of them. They're bean shaped. They're right on your flank on each side, on the right and the left. They actually filter the toxins in your blood.
And they always hurt all the time.
Well, usually no. That's usually if you have an infection or a kidney stone or something like that.
No. So anyways, my new song is really probably gonna... I just want you guys to get your Kleenexes out. Sorry, your tissues. I don't know if Kleenex is a sponsor of this show.
I just sent them a check, so I think they're...
Get your Kleenex. And I just want to dedicate this song to my boyfriend, DJ Dylan.
Oh.
So, honey, this is for you, sweetie. If you could just look me in the eyes, sweetie. Yes, thank you. All right, so here we go. Can I get a... Oh, we don't have...
Brand new!
That's right. Thank you, darling. Okay, so here we go.
Okay.
Happy anniversary, sweetie. I thank God for you and your mama too, for making you the man you are, that made me the girl I am today. I don't know where I'd be, I don't know what I'd see, if I couldn't look through your eyes into these starry night skies. And I'm sorry that I've got a hunchback.
Wow. That... Andy, that was amazing.
And sorry, could you give your full artist name since you're, since I guess you're promoting?
Andi Avila. ANDIAVALA.
Okay.
And you can actually catch me. I'm going to be doing the chili cook-off circuit.
And I just want to say on a personal note, your hunchback, I haven't seen it weep at all this entire time. You know how it used to just kind of weep in high school? Not a single drop.
Well, I started taking some medicine for it. And it stopped.
What medication?
Like the doctor podcast. That's the podcast we're on.
My weeping back is no longer weeping because I give it Zoloft every day.
You give your back specifically
That makes sense.
the medication.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Needle.
Okay, so you
This doctor doesn't even know what a needle is.
a syringe, is that right? And then you
Oh, he
Zoloft usually
wants
comes
the medical term.
comes
You
in
gotta call it a syringe. Nothing gets past this guy.
I know, right? She's always, you and your big nose always poking in on all these
She puts
terms.
Zoloft in a syringe and then injects it into her hunchback.
A Zoloft in a needle.
So you take the pills and you crunch them up? How do you do that? Do you crunch them up, put them in water or something and put them in a syringe? Or do you have some other way to...
Yeah, well, sometimes apple juice. I think it tastes better if it's apple juice.
Tastes better in your hunchback. And so you do this daily?
I have to do it about 3 times a day with a meal. And it actually requires a pretty hefty meal.
You probably eat the size of the hunchback, right?
I have to fill it first.
Sorry, DJ Dylan, what did you think about that song?
Brand new! Brand new!
Wow.
Aw,
That is
I
nice.
love you.
What a great 3-week anniversary song.
Next,
3 weeks next Thursday.
Next Thursday. So 2-week anniversary today.
It's kind of a rude thing to say.
It's
I guess,
3
but-
weeks next Thursday. Well, always
You heard
poking your
her.
big nose into things that you have no business poking your big nose in.
Well, did your doctor tell you how to take the Zoloft medication? Because that is a prescription medication.
Yeah, I have a doctor.
Okay, and so this doctor, is he a doctor of medicine?
As far as I know.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Hey, DJ Dylan, the other day you were talking about you were writing a prescription for a patient?
Yes.
Is Is maybe this kind of what we're talking about here?
Yes.
Is your boyfriend posing as a doctor?
He's not posing, no.
I get all my
His
stuff from DJ
basement is
Dylan.
open for all your doctor needs.
So
If you have an issue like you're having a heart attack or your leg falls off, you just go to his basement and he's got it all set up down there.
so you're
And the best part is it's free.
Oh, so he's a drug dealer who is dealing the drugs for free.
Well, just to me.
I mean, in any case,
I do want to be above board here. I also see Dr. Dylan for my knee. My knee does that weird thing.
what weird thing?
It's just like a weird thing. It doesn't go the right way.
You mean like it doesn't?
It's the wrong way.
Your kneecap?
It just points the wrong way.
Okay, because that's another thing where you should really go to see.
Well, I see DJ Dylan.
So DJ Dylan, to my knowledge, is not a licensed clinical physician.
That's not what the degree says in his office.
He has an office. Because I was under the impression that he did not have an office.
I said you go to his basement.
Yeah.
And what does his degree say?
It says something about popping my knee, like making it point the right way. That's the only reason I went to him.
So the degree specifically said like something for your specific symptoms.
Yeah, just on my knees that are kind of
Right, that it's-
swinging the wrong way. He
London,
kinda,
you wouldn't guess what I've got. I brought a surprise along.
Okay.
I brought another friend from high school.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds great, Andy. Oh, hey, yeah, Jake. Good to see you.
Hey, bro. Sorry, Dr. London.
Either
it's
way.
it's kind of funny that you're the one who's the doctor now. If you don't know and you're listening, me and Dr. London, we've been friends since, acquaintances since 6th grade. But it's funny because he's the doctor now, but I actually kind of grew up being the one who was more the science buff in the medical field and all that, and helping him with tests and stuff. So it really, I mean, it should be me that was a doctor, but things happen.
Yeah, did I see you in DJ Dylan's basement the other day? I think so.
You might have. I mean, there's been a few parties down there, so
It's iconoclast down there. You know what I mean? It's
right. Yeah, it's its own thing. It's got its own culture. It's it reminds me a lot of Harlem.
Oh,
in a
yeah.
way.
It's like early days of hip hop type.
Yeah,
type
right.
Of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of its own thing. It's really, it's kind of a hub of, like I said, culture. Lots of cool parties, girls, you name it.
Well, that sounds great. I haven't caught up with you for a little bit. So you're saying that you're very into medicine, and you were surprised that I'm so into it, and you kind of drifted. What?
Well, no, I haven't drifted. I'm just saying I think it's like one of those funny things in life where like, you're kind of the one who in the friendship who's always kind of, seeked out medical information, really become an expert on it, but then, your friend kind of one-ups you and becomes the doctor. It's one of those kind of things. Not that I'm I'm not dissing that. I think that's great and everything, but I just think it's kind of funny.
I guess I felt like you were never super into science.
Well, I was a little reclusive about it. I didn't want to brag or whatever. I mean, my mom taught me well, I guess.
Yeah, not like this guy. His whole thing is.
Well, and there's some of that. When you're a doctor, you kind of have to let it be known. I mean, you put MD next to your name or doctor. However you want to do it. But,
I disagree. I think you should stumble upon people being a doctor.
oh yeah, titles aside, but that's kind of what I did with DJ Dylan down in the basement. I just kind of stumbled upon it. A friend told me about it.
Yeah.
About how he deals drugs.
Well, not specifically, but just more of like the party aspect of it.
More of the medical science of it.
I'm not sure he really knows all the science behind it, but he's definitely got a feel for it. You got to give him that. That's one thing that I notice a lot of doctors don't have. and I'm sure it's different with you, but they tend to have less of a natural feel for the subject, and they're coming at it from more of an academic angle.
Yeah.
So I would call them less of a healer and more of just a scientist,
Yeah.
maybe. You know.
Well, and
Maybe even a student.
Yeah, more. Yeah,
Maybe they're just more like a
they're kind of just a constant student of the system, really.
yeah
that you want-
preschoolers with finger paints, just kind of making a picture of their mommy and daddy. That's
Well-
kind of what I see Dr. London as. Whereas when I'm in the basement with
Well, DJ Dillon does a good job of making medical
ego right.
things and making science fun, you know, and that's something that's missing in most doctor communities, is making medical things and science a lot of fun.
and the games we play down there are insane. Yeah.
when you say games, what do you?
Oh, we played a lot of games. I mean, when I was over there last like couple weeks ago, whatever, when actually the night that he and Andy met, we were playing a like spin the bottle, but it was I forget what it was, Vicodin or something. I can't
Yeah.
remember that, but it got pretty crazy. I got hit twice with it, so anyway, yeah, it got pretty crazy, but
Especially when the gun got involved, right?
yeah, well, it was.
When you brought a gun.
Well, it wasn't a real gun. People thought it was a real gun, but yeah, it wasn't. It was like a bubble. It was a squirt gun, but I filled it with Vicodin too. So
And you know what they say, laughter is really the best medicine.
Well, so you filled a squirt gun with Vicodin. How did this spin?
I think
so,
it was a bubble gun.
yeah,
That's
same
not a
thing.
squirt gun.
Oh, it's the same thing. Just one squirts bubbles.
I guess that's true. See, this is the kind of stuff I am a student. I want to be learning these things. I've learned so much from you right now.
You know,
just like I learned
honestly-
so much from you in that basement that one night. Whereas
Yeah, I mean, I was
everything
just kinda,
Dr. London's saying, it's going in one ear and out the other because it's
Well,
either gibberish or it's nonsense.
Well, you got to understand. I mean, he's a smart guy. I've known him my whole life since I was 15. But he comes at it from that more academic angle, like you were saying.
I don't like it. I don't trust it.
It works. It works for some people.
He thinks we came from worms.
Well, and that's in reference to, I was describing the digestive tract and how it looked similar in some ways. But in any case, so
Oh yeah, yeah. I heard your last episode where y'all were talking about that kind of stuff. Actually, you said something. You were talking about lungs and talking about smoking and how it gets in your body. So I actually had a question I wanted to bring up since I'm kind of a medical buff, science buff type, if you will.
okay.
So there's a lot of talk about smoking. There's a lot of kids that smoke these days, and they always have. But I feel like there's less kids smoking. So I just have this question. What is the relationship in the increase in smoking and the decrease in vaccinations nationwide? How do you think those two, because I'm just as an observer, I've noticed that smoking levels are increasing, but vaccinations are decreasing. So I don't know if the two are related. I feel like they are.
I'd have to go ahead and say that I don't believe that those two are related.
Well, but think about it. So you always see doctors smoking cigars. It's kind of what they're known for.
Well, I don't know about.
I mean, besides being doctors, and you never see them vaccinating themselves. You always see them vaccinating children, and only children. Think about that. I mean,
Okay,
honestly, I think pediatricians have to be some of the sickest people on earth. You know what I mean? Because, and this is my honest opinion, just as an observer, once again, I'm noticing that a lot of pediatricians are vaccinating a lot of kids. And it has to make you think, like, why are they pushing vaccinations so hard? And I think, we're seeing a lot of,
well, there are reasons why.
Yeah,
It's to prevent disease.
Oh no, I'm with you there. I do think that vaccinations prevent disease, but I'm wondering what their motives are. Is it to help the kids, or is it to keep themselves from getting sick because they're seeing sick kids all day long? And part of me thinks it's more about them than it is about the kids, because, vaccinations do work, but only for a short amount of time. So I think they're doing it more for the paycheck, and a quick payoff. And because if you think about it, I feel like it's more of a quick fix and they get their paycheck, and then later comes the deterioration. In many different ways, namely autism. And as you get older, think about it, you get older, you meet more people, and as you meet more people, you meet more and more people with Asperger's, which is kind of the in-between phase, of being normal and being autistic.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, that's just how it works. And you would think with all the people with Asperger's that are, middle age, something like that you would be seeing a lot of people who are older with autism. But the problem is old people don't have autism because they weren't vaccinated like kids are today.
Well, you've given us a lot to chew on
That makes
there.
so much sense.
But okay, so to address a few things in there, it's quite a few things to tackle. For one thing, the motivation for doctors to vaccinate, and you're saying the pediatricians, like the case you made it sound like they're just being selfish because they don't want to get sick, and that's why they vaccinate. The pediatricians, most doctors, actually all doctors who work in healthcare have to be vaccinated against certain illnesses.
But how does that explain the cigars he was talking about earlier?
Okay, cigars are one of those small personal choices. That's not part of practicing medicine.
Right, but they do kind of, represent doctors in a way. You think of a doctor, what do you think of? A cigar, a doctor puffing a cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I think more of, and sorry, Cameron, but a stethoscope is what I would think of, or a white coat.
I don't know. I don't know what you're saying at all.
Okay, so...
Well, stethoscope is basically like a doctor's necklace. It's a status thing.
Why couldn't you have said that 4 episodes ago, Dr. London?
Okay, well, the reason there is because that's not... The purpose is... So, if you've seen a stethoscope, it's sort of a Y-shaped thing. So at the top of the Y, at the two ends, those are where it goes in your ears. And at the bottom...
Oh, right, to hear the heartbeat.
Yes. Good answer, Jake. So, yeah, the bottom is the what's called the bell and the diaphragm of the stethoscope, and usually they'll use the diaphragm of the stethoscope to listen to your heartbeat or your breathing. And so it's
how they know you're alive.
Right, and how they know what could be a problem with your life, what illnesses you might have.
So the stethoscope, I'm really trying to follow. The stethoscope prevents the need for vaccinations, but requires the need for cigar usage. Is that correct?
Not requires. It's just the cigar is, the way I see it, the cigar is just another symbol of status, and the stethoscope is the secondary.
Gotcha.
Okay, so to clarify that, the stethoscope is not a status thing; it's a useful tool for the doctor.
It's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Really, it helps detect the heartbeat, and it also shows that you are in fact a doctor.
Like carpenter jeans, right?
Yeah.
They're both jeans that you can wear,
Or
and they're
a
also
hammer.
function as kind of a tool. You can hook your hammer on the bottom part of your jeans on that little hook there. That way you can carry it around with you.
Yeah.
In the same way, doctors probably carry around the stethoscope, probably carry around a cigar.
Yeah, I mean,
Carry around a
actor,
needle or a syringe, as Dr. London always kind of forces us to use that word.
I mean, every occupation has their status symbol. I mean, you've got actors and cameras,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let's move on to maybe okay, and also to address one thing that also came up in there. There is no strong correlation between autism and vaccines. That's a myth. That is actually untrue.
Well, it just hasn't been studied long enough because, like I said, you see a lot of people, around, our age and kind of middle age, that, they're developing Asperger's. They're not fully autistic yet, but they're getting there. And then the older people, you don't see so many autistic ones only because they weren't vaccinated in the same way. Because, big pharma, I feel like, is getting out of control. I was talking to somebody the other day about battlefield medicine and, how great that is. Oh, they were praising battlefield medicine, how good that is, that the people on the battlefield don't have to suffer during a war. The point of war is suffering. If nobody died, nobody would win the war. I mean, you got to take that into account. And, at least, they may be well treated today, but at least back in, let's say the Civil War, they may have been in pain on the battlefield, but they weren't being mind controlled by big pharma.
Okay, well,
Absolutely.
so to clarify one other point you made there, so autism,
And maybe if we weren't being mind controlled, then maybe some of these ideas that they came out of the Civil War with, maybe they'd be a little different.
So autism, to clarify one point, autism is actually diagnosed much earlier on.
You can see Dr. London squirming for a cigar right now. He's like, God, I wish I could get away from it. Smoke a cigar.
Okay, and also one point
Get in my Lamborghini and smoke my cigar.
The joke's honestly on doctors because, they're getting kids addicted to vaccinations and they think that's all fun and games, but then they're getting addicted to cigars themselves. It came full circle,
My nephew gets vaccinations every couple of years.
Sad.
Yeah.
That's the world we live in.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I would honestly rather live in a world where the life expectancy is much shorter, but you get to have a fulfilled life rather than one where you're addicted to vaccinations.
How old is your nephew?
35.
Does your nephew travel a lot?
Just a normal amount for a 35-year-old.
Because there are certain vaccinations that you would have to keep up with, usually not every few years, but if you travel a lot to certain countries where, let's say, typhoid is endemic, then you might get...
Well, he's never been to Thailand.
At his age and with his frequent level of vaccinations, I would say he's about the prime, the prime candidate to have Asperger's. I don't know if you've noticed anything, but I would definitely keep an eye out for that.
Well, what are some of the...
if he's traveling alone, he may need, someone to accompany him.
What are some of the signs that I can kind of look out for?
I should interject.
I was not
here.
talking to you.
Okay,
I was not.
Well, he always excelled on the, on the mental, on the mentally challenged parts of school.
Okay, I guess.
Okay,
I
so...
just wanted to hear. Not Dr. London gave me this advice, but that's fine.
Okay, so to clarify on... the one point, Asperger's is actually no longer included in the diagnostic options here. There's an autism spectrum, and there's certain levels to it. Asperger's is actually that name is no longer so relevant.
Well, yeah, because it was not a specific measurement. It's more of like the broad kind of the area on the in between. It didn't pinpoint, so they don't like anything that doesn't pinpoint a specific.
You are right in saying that it's a mild form of autism. It's one of the more mild forms. But it is still on the spectrum, which is, if you've ever heard the term autism spectrum. And so it would be on that spectrum, but just not as severe. The term Asperger's is actually no longer used in medicine. So that's a bit of an update in that regard. As for your comment about the amount of vaccinations a person gets, if they're going to a legitimate licensed practicing physician, then generally they're going to be getting the correct vaccinations. If they go to DJ Dylan's basement, they may get, something else, and I can't speak to that.
Well, people care a lot about getting the right medicine and the right dosage and everything, but also, if there's one thing I've learned in my years of being a businessman, it's that people really appreciate customer service. And honestly, people will pay more and risk more for better customer service. So that's one thing that I think doctors and hospitals are not doing, as well as, people like DJ Dylan in their basement.
Okay. And while I appreciate that, so you mentioned you're businessman. What career have you gone into? I know you said you left the path of medicine.
Oh, I just do a little bit of this and that, but, I still study up a lot on medicine, so that's why I'm able to be on the show.
Oh, that's what qualified. That's what met the criteria for Cameron to choose you to be on the show.
Oh no, I applied.
Yeah. There's a test.
We have an application
Yeah.
for
Oh
it?
yeah,
It's like there's 3 rounds you have to go through.
And you conduct a thorough, like, is it an interview process?
Oh no, there were like a couple hundred people waiting on the sidewalk out there. It was just by chance. I actually didn't even know that it was you. And when I found out, of course, I lost it. I thought it was great. And honestly, I went hysterical because, I mean, you being a doctor, it's just never what I expected once again. But I'm happy for you. I think it's great.
Well, Jake and Andy, thank you guys for coming by.
Yes, thank
No
you.
problem.
I appreciate it. If you want to see if this info is correct, Jake, you're going to be doing a lecture in DJ Dylan's basement tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m.
Yep, 2 p.m. people.
What's the lecture on?
It'll be a number of things. I definitely will touch on some things that I talked about today. Namely, well, I'll have to think of something else to call Asperger's, but I think we all know what it's called. And
Sure.
So, yeah, but just your basic stuff: cigarettes, autism, vaccinations.
Okay. Well, I learned a lot today about DJ Dylan's private life, so that is something. Thank you to DJ Dylan, the host,
All right.
as well as Andy for coming on the show. I'm not sure about the whole sponsorship thing.
I forgot to mention I needed to give a shout out to a couple of friends. This one goes out to Dylan and Andy, and just wanted to wish you guys a happy 3-week anniversary next Thursday. Don't get too crazy.
All right, thank you all, and thank you for listening.
See ya.
If you liked that episode, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review on iTunes. You can write what your favorite part was, whether you prefer pancakes or waffles, or simply write the word review. Honestly, as long as you give us 5 stars, you can write out like just a cooking recipe or a blog about a recent fashion trend that you don't like. We are Jock Podcast on social media, and we post goodies there too, so give us a follow.
And honestly, if you didn't have a 5-star experience while you were listening to this, let's say you were cooking and you burnt something, let's say you were driving on the way to work and there was too much traffic, or maybe you were a little sleepy while listening to it, just give it a 1-star review. We wanted them to be honest.
Yeah.
If I was listening to a podcast and I ate something and it was too spicy and I didn't have water near me, that's a 1-star podcast.
No, well, because we're rating the content of the podcast. Like, their food isn't the...
Yeah, how am I can't hear the podcast because I'm screaming, ow! Because it's so... I can't... There's no water near me.
So maybe that's a review for, I guess, the rest. Maybe don't leave a review in that case. Would be...
Compromise. Give it 2 stars. Give it 1 stars.
That's still not... No. Anyway, leave 5-star review. Thanks.